We do have Dr. Naresh Trehan with us to help us shed some light on some of the things that have been happening there. Vinod Sharma with us as well. I'm going to talk to you about electronics in a second. But if you remember discussions we've often had, the focus on healthcare is always something that we used to hope would really come across in budgets and in government policies. Do you think that's now something which is a done deal when it comes to healthcare, the importance of healthcare and the importance of education?
So, as this budget is on account, even then some of the significant announcements were made in it. The fact that a lot of focus has gone on maternal health and child health, the inclusiveness of making more and more medical colleges, the fact that it also provides more employment has been addressed in this budget. So that's a good thing. And I think the best part of it is that inclusion of the Anganwadi workers, upgrading it, and then also giving them the facility of Ayushman. Because see, one of the things that is very important is that at the bottom to the last citizen standing in India, we need to take healthcare to a level where it is affordable for them. So I think that that is the huge impact of Ayushman that has happened, but extension of it to other workers, healthcare workers, is I think a very welcome move. Now as far as other parts of healthcare, the vaccination for cervical cancer, which has been, worldwide we know that it affects the young girls, women, and it carries a very high mortality. So if the vaccination is done as effectively as other vaccinations have been done, which I have no doubt about, then I think that it will be a big service to women and protecting them from cancer. So if you look at it, a lot of it has got to do with woman-centric, giving relief, which was lacking for them. So I think overall I must congratulate the fact that in a tight rope walk on a budget on account,
you still got some mention about healthcare in general.
Yeah.
But again, I spent the entire day today sort of doing report card of the last 10 years and looking ahead to the next 5 sort of a thing. So if you were to do that for healthcare, I don't think there's any doubt that when it comes to in cities like Delhi and, for better people who have access to top quality, hospitals, healthcare is as good as anywhere in the world, if not probably better. The challenge is always how do you take that to 1.4 billion people? How far do you think we've gotten that part of the exercise thanks to Ayushman Bharat, and what can be done to expedite it? How do we make sure that more people have access to world-class healthcare?
Basically, the implementation of the scheme which was announced a few years ago has been a little patchy because some of the states decided they're going to push their own schemes and not accept Ayushman. So that whole thing has put a little bit of twist on it. But I think that as more and more states join in, either matching Ayushman with their schemes, this will go down, filter down to the last person standing, as we talked about before. The fact is Anganwadis are in the villages.
Yeah.
The fact is that Anganwadi workers getting more power and Asha workers being recognized more is a very, very positive move.
All right. Let me turn to the electronics sector, because we were just talking a short while back about automotives being one of the areas where this entire concept of let's make India the center of global supply chains, let's replace China, that's playing out in a couple of areas. Auto was one, electronics is another. What did you hear today? What have you been experiencing? What needs to be done?
Okay. If it's okay with you, Vikram, I'll first like to answer what's happened in 10 years, what we expect in the next 5 in electronics, and then come So what we're doing is, and I describe that as a 4 into 400 meter relay. So first, a lot of people don't know that electronics is actually the largest manufacturing sector in the world.
Yeah.
Now we also see the horizontal, so we don't like to call it a vertical anymore, it is a horizontal, it's a meta resource that helps healthcare, agriculture, automotive, of course, and many other areas. Now including generation of electricity. So today when we talked about solar, for example, electronics plays a big role. So what we've done in the first leg, which has taken all of 10 years, is to become an assembly hub for the world. Mobile phones is a very good example. I hope the IT hardware, air conditioning, LEDs are now following soon. But that's only the first leg. The second leg that now sort of concerns us a lot, and we are in touch with the government, hopefully in July budget we will hear some good news, or before that, is the components, the deep-rooted, value-added manufacturing of electronics, which needs a completely different sort of policy prescription than assembly. Also, that brings a very different kind of jobs. So the assembly jobs are easy, are more casual in nature, if I may use that word. These are deep value, medium tech to high tech kind of jobs, skills that will last for 10 to 20 years. And the world needs those kind of people, so our demographic dividend comes into that.
And the world will need it more and more. The more you have geopolitical tension, the more you are wary about China, the more you start getting worried about Taiwan because of the possibility of war out there. The world needs a replacement.
That's right. And I think the government has put their money where their mouth is in terms of the semiconductor policy. We need to do the same for non-semiconductor components, and that's the discussion. And you're absolutely right. So the whole geopolitical thing, when we started discussing 5 years ago, was we needed a China plus one. Today, in fact, in the commercial circles, we talk of ABC, anywhere but China, because that's not a trusted supply chain source anymore. Having said that, the third leg is actually designing our own products. The healthcare that India needs is different from somewhere else. Can we have our own diagnostic tools? Can we have, and all the startup ecosystem that comes with it? And the fourth one is to have Indian brands. I don't think we will reach what we want to reach without having our own Sony, our own Samsung. So I do think that some of our Indian companies will stand up and become brands for the world. So that's where we need to go. The first leg has taken 10 years, and for the next 3 we have only 5 years. So obviously we need to hurry up. Given that today, the very short sort of space that the FM had to talk about this industry, I'm still happy that we talked about rooftop, we talked about electric vehicle charging. And I think the most, to me, the most impressive was that this 1 lakh crore fund that they're talking about for for entrepreneurs.
A lot of people have got attention to that, because that could potentially really kickstart a lot of R&D, a lot of development, easy course source of funding. But of course, the modalities of how that is actually
we don't know yet.
Passed on. It has to be a simple, easy access. Some kid in a dorm somewhere should have the ability to say, I've got a great idea, will somebody come and
can I take it to market?
Can I take it to market?
So, so I like that, Jai Anusandhan. I think it's a great word. I think innovation is in our bloodstream in India. Unfortunately, when we don't get it right, we do this whole jugaad shortcut. That's not what we need. So I think, I was listening to what CB was saying. One of the things that we still don't get right is quality. So I always say, today, if you look at, if you were to rate Japan, China, and Korea, anybody on the street knows what the rating is in quality. Where are we as India? If we don't do things right, will we be number 1, 2, 3, 4? What is our aspiration? And I think those are questions we still need to answer.
I think that's really well put. Thanks a lot, Vinod, for having been with us. Let me get a quick final take from you on the budget.
So, as Vinod was mentioning, that one of the things that is really pulling us down as far as healthcare delivery system is concerned is the high cost of equipment. And the more we develop our industry, electronic and medical industry and AI incorporated into AI, I think the better off we will be. And I think the future looks good, and all the things that we were talking about, innovation and all that, is only going to create that segment for the medical sector. And also, don't forget, what we do for India applies to 4 billion people around the world. So we have a great potential there.
All right, let me just rope in Lekha Chakrabarti now joining us, professor at the NIPFP, board member of the International Institute of Public Finance. How do you've had a little bit of a time to look at the budget. We've also been trying to figure out interim budget, of course, but the fact that there is a certain amount of fiscal discipline that she's talking to, 5.1, despite all the spending that is happening. Your reaction to some of what you heard in the interim budget?
Thank you. The fiscal arithmetic, that's very promising. She has not deviated from the fiscal consolidation path. And, any pre-election budget, budget credibility is very important than engaging in announcing the freebies. So that's welcome. But when we look into the revenue deficit, that's slightly high, because she can't do anything about phasing out of revenue deficit at this point, because it affects all the social infrastructure announcements she has made in the budget and the employment generation programs, and even the income support to the farmers. So social infrastructure, that needs to be, given importance, and that's why her revenue deficit is still very high, and that's equally welcome.